Hi everyone and welcome to another recipe video. And today I'm making these objectively ugly but extremely tasty and soft Pandan Chestnut spiral buns. Now I'm using this pre-made filling that I found in my local Chinese supermarket, and it says chestnut paste, but actually if you zoom in it's only about 5.9% chestnut and the rest is white bean, but it's actually really tasty and it doesn't really matter. So let's go! First we're going to wake up 5 grams of fresh yeast by adding in 1 teaspoonful of caster sugar and 50 millilitres of warm milk. Give it a good stir until it's well incorporated and set it aside for a couple of minutes till it's foamy. Now we're going to take 125 grams of that faux chestnut paste, mostly bean paste but still tasty, and split it into 4. And I love the texture of it. It's a little bit softer than Play-Doh, so it's just on the cusp of being sticky, but it holds together and is thick enough so that you can roll it around like dough. So just divide it into 4 equalish parts, no real need to measure, just eyeball it. And you could use pure chestnut paste in theory, but you would have to cook it with sugar until it's thicker and sweet. But this is much easier. Now we're taking 175 grams of bread flour and adding a pinch of salt, and adding 30 grams more caster sugar for flavour. Now we're adding 15 grams of softened unsalted butter. And make sure it is softened at room temperature, otherwise you're going to have a bit of a job stirring it all in if it's hard and cold. And now we're adding half a beaten egg. And keep hold of that other half of the beaten egg because we're going to use that later to glaze the buns. Now adding 30 millilitres more milk and a teaspoonful of pandan paste, which is gloriously green. And finally we're going to add in that yeast milk mixture that we made right at the beginning. And now all that's left to do is stir it until it starts to form a dough, and then flour your work surface and knead it for 15 to 20 minutes until it's springy and smooth. Now you can find spiral buns in a lot of Chinese supermarkets, and they're often filled with things like sweet black sesame paste or sweet red bean paste. But the first time I saw it on YouTube was in 2015, and the tutorial video was posted by cook Kafemaru, who is a Japanese YouTuber. I'll post a link to her purple yam spiral bun video in the description down below. So now we have a nice elastic dough. We're going to pop it in a lightly oiled bowl. I can say it this week for once. We're going to cover it nice and tight with cling film and leave it for about an hour until it's doubled in size. And once it has, we're going to do my favourite part, which is punch the heck out of it, get all that excess air out, and we're going to scoop it back onto our work surface. And just like with our filling, we're going to divide it into 4 equal-ish parts because we're going to make 4 buns. Now as I mentioned, Cook Kafemaru's video used purple yam or taro, and then following that many other people started to use taro and also purple sweet potato paste to do very similar recipes. So when I went to make my buns here, I was originally going to use the purple sweet potato paste that I used for my pineapple bun recipe a couple of weeks ago, which I'll link up above and down below now. But when I did a little bit of recipe research and realised that everyone had done it, then I thought, okay, I'll do something a bit different and I'll make them Pandan Chestnut, because variety is the spice of life. Now we have the most fun bit of all, and that is shaping the spiral buns. So we're taking one section of our dough, we're going to roll it out into sort of rough oval, doesn't have to be perfect. And now we're going to place 1 portion of that chestnut paste inside. And you can use red bean paste or black sesame paste as well, as long as it's some sort of sweet paste that's easily mouldable like this. Now we're going to make a little stuffed sausage by closing up that dough all around it. And I love this part, it's like being a kid again playing with Play-Doh. And now we're going to roll it out again in a similar sized oval, pretty much exactly the same as before, but now we have the paste inside. And now we're going to cut some slits into the middle. I did about 6 to 7. And we're not cutting it from end to end, but we are cutting it all the way through in the middle, kind of like slats on a window. Window blinds, that's what they're called, I think. And Cook Kafemaru used a pizza slicer for this, which I thought was genius. And next, to shape them, we're going to diagonally roll from the longest end, like this. I'm really bad at describing it. Look, you can see what I'm doing. We're taking one end and pinching it and twisting it diagonally so it forms a stripy snake. I think that's describing it accurately, as you can see. And as I'm doing it, I'm stretching it just a little bit, very gently, and then I'm curling it in on itself to make a spiral. And then there was an error in the footage, but after this I did pop a chestnut right in the middle, which you will see in a bit for the rest of them. So let's see that in fast motion. Ooh, and also I think This would also be great with chocolate spread, so putting Nutella inside instead of the bean paste, because then you'd sort of have a kind of bootleg babka bun. I think, in theory, it looks very much like the spirals of a babka anyway when you're doing it like this, so I'd be really interested to experiment like that. But I'm sure people have already done it before, so I'm going to do a little bit of research first. We'll see. I'm pretty sure you can make babka buns like this, with chocolate instead of bean paste. Until then, you have my matcha babka recipe and my sourdough babka recipe, so I'll link those below too. And I'll think about making mini babka buns another time. So now we've just about finished shaping our very last bun, putting that gorgeous little roasted chestnut in the middle, and we're going to place them on a lined baking sheet and cover them and leave them for another 30 minutes to rise, just a little bit more. When you're ready, preheat the oven to 180 degrees C. And once the 30 minutes are up, we're going to glaze these buns. Remember that half egg left over from making the dough? Now is when you get to use it again. So we're just going to very lightly brush them over the top, and this is going to make them really golden and shiny in the oven when they bake. You don't have to do this, and some people prefer to dust icing sugar over the top instead for a slightly different finish, but I like not wasting that extra half egg yolk. So now we're baking it for 15 minutes, and now we're done. All golden and puffy and delicious. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full recipe on my blog tashcakes.com and find me on Instagram as tashcakestastes. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you liked it to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you guys later. Be good, be nice, and have a good week.